Alrighty guys, this is the build video of the Super Scorpion by 3D Aeroworks. And this is, if not one of the best flying 3D printed airplanes I have ever had the pleasure of flying. Technically this is a rebuild video because the first one that I built, I wound up crashing, 100% pilot error. And as always, we are going to be using our Star Bond thick CA glue. In this case, we will not be using the activator because although it will cure the glue instantly, it does have the tendency to leave behind this white haze. And I know you can get rid of it using olive oil, but I just want to keep this build looking as clean as possible. The nice thing about these 3D printed airplanes is typically more times than not, the designer will include some form of joining the parts together so they mate perfectly. Typically it's a male-female system with the parts being printed in a way that they mate together. In this case, what 3D Aeroworks has done is they've incorporated very inexpensive barbecue bamboo skewers, and they have pockets in each section that join together with their corresponding section, and it adds a little bit of structural rigidity to the model. So you just cut these down to, it's a couple of millimeters, they're pretty small. You can get a whole plane out of a couple of skewers. You put them in, and then the two parts will slide together with no problem. One important thing to remember whenever building a 3D printed airplane is to make sure you scuff up the surfaces to be mated together. Now I've already done that off camera. I typically use 180 grit sandpaper, and you don't have to go crazy. You just need to rough the surface up. You don't want to start shaving off material because then the parts may not line up properly, but just enough to rough it up so the glue has something to bite onto. And just like that, guys, we have our fuselage into its major components. We have the back end with a full flying stabilizer and the motor sit. We have the canopy, that's the battery hatch also. And we have the main forward part of the fuselage, all set and ready to go. We're now going to move on to the wings. Just like that, guys, we have all of the major components assembled for our Super Scorpion by 3D Aeroworks. The next step is going to be kind of a hybrid step. I'm going to be putting in the electronics as I assemble the major pieces together. So we're going to be moving into the 3D print hangar for that because it is cold AF in here. At this point, we are going to get all of our 9-gram servos mounted to their respective servo plates, and we are going to get our full flying stabilizer system set up and ready to go. And that is what our servos are going to look like when they are mounted to the plate. Just simple 2 little screws. It's just like most balsa planes where you have these 2 little blocks that the servo screws into. Super simple, super easy. Now this full flying stabilizer system has quite a few different components involved. It all revolves around this square shaft that goes into the horizontal stabilizers and goes through several of these components. The middle of which is the control arm that sits right on the middle of the shaft right here. Then on either side are 2 of these bearings that are all 3D printed. Over those are these carbon fiber tubes. And then finally over everything are these 3D printed sleeves that hold everything in place. And inside of that is where the action will take place, and I will show you how it works once the assembly is complete. And just like that, guys, we have our full flying horizontal stabilizers mounted and functioning properly. Show you how the whole mechanism works in there. It's elegantly simple, yet beautifully complex, if that makes any sense, or if I'm just talking gibberish out my butt. But this thing is wicked, wicked cool. The elevator authority on this thing is just insane. And this is our finished product. 3D Aeroworks Super Scorpion is ready for her maiden flight. Stay tuned, guys.